Are you prepared for the imminent return of Jesus? Are we truly living in the end times? In this eye-opening video, we delve into compelling evidence that suggests Jesus is coming soon. From prophecies being fulfilled to current global events aligning with biblical predictions, the signs are clear. Join us as we explore the new proof that points to the imminent return of Jesus Christ. Stay informed, stay prepared, and stay hopeful as we navigate these unprecedented times together. Some people argue that the book of Revelation is all about events that happened long ago. They believe everything in it was completed by 70 AD, a viewpoint held by those known as preterists. These individuals see the book as a historical account that doesn't affect us today. However, the text starts with a clear statement. Revelation 1:1, the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him, to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. This introduction suggests that the book is meant to discuss future events. While it does start by addressing 7 real churches that existed back when John, the author, was writing, these messages to the churches also carry forward to broader spiritual truths that apply to what is called the church age, a period that spans from the past into the present. Interestingly, many believe we are currently living in what Revelation describes as the Laodicean church period, a phase characterized by specific spiritual conditions among Christian congregations. This interpretation ties us directly to the prophecies in Revelation, suggesting that while parts of the book reflect the past, other sections provide guidance and prophecy relevant to our current times and even into the future. It's often said that the best way to predict someone's future actions is to look at how they've acted in the past. This doesn't mean people can't change, but change is uncommon. Most people tend to stick to their usual ways. If you want to know how someone will behave in the future, examining their past behavior can give you a good clue. This principle applies to individuals, larger groups, and even entire nations. Genuine change is so rare because people naturally resist altering their ways. We generally prefer to keep things as they are. This resistance is especially true for those who either do not have a spiritual connection or who may claim a spiritual life, but do not actively engage in it. Without a significant event or influence, their patterns of behavior are unlikely to change. This is why many believe in the necessity of becoming new creations through spiritual renewal. According to Christian belief, it is only through a miraculous intervention by God that true and lasting change can occur in a person's life. Looking at history, we see a pattern of repetition, which further supports the idea that people don't often change. Whether personal, national, or global, history tends to repeat itself. This cyclical nature of history shows that while circumstances may evolve, human responses and behaviors often remain consistent over time. This insight is crucial not only for understanding the past, but also for preparing for future challenges. And just like watching a movie, understanding the book of Revelation can be challenging when you look at it one piece at a time. John, who wrote Revelation, saw and recorded various visions. Sometimes, additional explanations were given to clarify events, but it can still be confusing if you're only focusing on one chapter at a time. Imagine watching a complex movie for 2 or 3 hours, seeing the entire storyline unfold from beginning to end. When you watch that movie for the first time, everything might seem tangled and confusing. However, if you watch it again, knowing how the story ends, you'll likely notice things you missed before. You'll also understand better why characters said certain things or made particular choices. Similarly, Robert Breaker explains studying the book of Revelation this way. By seeing the entire movie of Revelation, or reading through the whole book first, you gain a clearer understanding of each part. This approach helps you make sense of the complex details that seem so convoluted on the first pass. It's like having the benefit of hindsight. You know the outcome to better grasp why everything happens the way it does. This method of studying Revelation is vital. It aligns with the advice given within the text itself, where it starts with, "I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last. What thou seest, write in a book, and send it unto the 7 churches which are in Asia." Revelation 1:11. Here, John is instructed to document everything and share it with the churches, emphasizing the importance of communicating the whole vision. Also, 2 Timothy 1:15 mentions people in Asia turning away, highlighting the challenges the early churches faced. This reference shows the complex interactions and the historical context which are crucial to understanding the pressures and realities the early Christian communities dealt with. We follow Paul's teachings, emphasizing faith as the primary means of justification. However, Revelation was written later, addressing the 7 churches in Asia, some of which had turned away from Paul's teachings. This suggests a departure from the true gospel, highlighting the importance of discernment. The significance of the 7 churches. In Revelation, 7 letters are directed to 7 churches in Asia Minor. Each letter, spoken by Jesus and recorded by John, assesses the victories and failures of the recipient churches while urging them to repent. Robert Breaker emphasizes that these letters serve as prophetic warnings to contemporary Christian communities, alerting them to potential pitfalls that could lead them away from their faith. The advice given in these letters is relevant today, cautioning believers against similar errors. These 7 churches were among the early Christian communities in Asia Minor, strategically positioned along a significant trade route. Their selection to receive this apocalyptic message suggests their influence and the urgency of the message for the broader Christian community. The 7 letters addressed to the churches in Revelation were initially meant for specific congregations in Asia Minor. However, the strategic placement of these churches along a major trade route ensured that the messages could easily spread throughout the region. This setup helped the teachings and warnings reach a broader audience, extending their impact beyond the immediate recipients. While the letters in Revelation target particular deficiencies within those early churches, their lessons are universally applicable. The issues and advice detailed in these letters mirror challenges that all churches might face at one point or another. Therefore, these messages from Revelation are not just historical documents, but are also relevant to Christian congregations today, providing guidance and cautionary advice that remains pertinent. The figure of the 7 churches also depicts the entire history of the church. The final phase, represented by the church in Laodicea, is characterized by widespread apostasy, a turning away from the faith, until the return of the Lord. This period is seen as reflective of our current age. The Revelation suggests a significant falling away from the faith will occur, followed by the event known as the Rapture, where true believers are said to be taken from the world. In the book of Revelation, the term saints refers to 2 different groups, and this often causes confusion. Some think all references to saints in Revelation denote the church undergoing tribulation. However, there are clear distinctions. The saints who are living today and will be taken up in the rapture, and those who become believers during the tribulation, known as tribulation saints. Understanding this distinction is crucial for interpreting the events described in Revelation correctly. Many people are familiar with the concept of the tribulation, a period marked by severe suffering and chaos as described in the book of Revelation. However, not everyone is aware of who the tribulation saints are. These individuals are the remnants of the church who endure the extreme hardships of this period, including the wrath of Satan, his demonic forces, and the Antichrist. During the tribulation, people will desperately seek a better life, moving from place to place. This will be a time of severe testing for everyone, with increased poverty driving many to despair. In this desperate context, the mark of the beast will be accepted by many as a means of survival. However, the tribulation saints are those who choose to stand firm in their faith, refusing to compromise or sell their souls to the devil, despite facing immense adversity. These saints endure the tribulation, holding on to their belief in Jesus Christ and the promise of eternal life with Him. These enduring believers will face significant persecution, and many will be martyred for their faith. The narrative of their struggle and ultimate sacrifice is a powerful testament to their unwavering devotion to Christ. Christians hold different views regarding the timing of the tribulation relative to Jesus' return. Some believe that Jesus will rapture His church before the tribulation begins, sparing them from this period of suffering. Others think the tribulation must occur before Christ returns to gather His faithful to heaven. After this, according to some interpretations, there will be a tribulation period on earth, where God's living saints will experience and confront the Antichrist's agenda directly. In Robert Breaker's description, the tribulation saints are a central focus during the tribulation. They represent resilience and faithfulness in the face of the Antichrist's efforts to undermine and destroy the faithful. Understanding the Great Tribulation. According to the Bible, the tribulation period is a future event lasting 7 years. This period is also referred to as the time of Jacob's trouble, and aligns with a prophecy from Daniel about 7 years divided into 2 parts. The first half lasts 3.5 years, and the second half, known as the Great Tribulation, is when extremely severe events occur. During the Great Tribulation, it's said that God will pour out His wrath upon the earth, leading to significant suffering and chaos. In the book of Revelation, 144,000 individuals play a crucial role during the tribulation. These are not Jehovah's Witnesses, as some might think. Instead, they are identified specifically as Jews from various tribes of Israel. Revelation 7 details their origins. Of the tribe of Judah, Reuben, Gad, Asher, Naphtali, Manasseh, Simeon, Levi, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, and Benjamin. These 144,000 have a special mark, the name of their father written on their foreheads, signifying God's protection during the tribulation. The 144,000 are sealed and protected by God during the tribulation, suggesting they have a specific purpose during these challenging times. Their sealing protects them from the divine wrath unleashed during the Great Tribulation, allowing them to fulfill their roles without harm. For followers of Jesus Christ, the Great Tribulation represents a period of intense trial and hardship. Believers are warned of this time so they might prepare spiritually for the challenges to come. It's a time when faith may be tested to its limits and where immense spiritual growth and perseverance are possible. The tribulation period mentioned in the book of Revelation marks a time of intense upheaval and catastrophic events on earth. It's a period foretold both in the New and Old Testaments, characterized by immense suffering and chaos. In the Old Testament, this period is specifically referred to as the time of Jacob's trouble. Jeremiah 30:7 emphasizes the severity of this time. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. This scripture highlights the unparalleled nature of the tribulation, indicating a time of significant distress for Jacob, symbolizing Israel. Yet it also offers a message of eventual deliverance. Jesus Christ also spoke of this period in the New Testament. In Matthew 24:21, he describes it as a time of great distress, unequaled from the beginning of the world until now, and never to be equaled again. This statement underscores the extreme nature of the tribulation, marking it as the most severe period humanity will ever witness. During the tribulation, the world will undergo transformations that make it unrecognizable compared to its current state. The Bible predicts that the hardships during this time will be unlike anything previously experienced in human history. The magnitude of destruction and moral decay will reach levels that are not only unprecedented, but will also leave a lasting impact on the fabric of earthly life. The Great Tribulation will unleash horrors that are not just prophetic, but will become a harsh reality. It's a period from which there will be no escape, affecting everyone on the planet. The living saints, the faithful believers of Christ who are still on earth during this time, will face these trials firsthand, experiencing the full force of this divine judgment. During the tribulation period, food will become extremely scarce. According to the book of Revelation, the only individuals who can buy or sell are those who accept the beast's mark. This mark signifies allegiance to the Antichrist, allowing people to engage in commerce and obtain basic necessities, while those who refuse it will face dire consequences. Those who choose not to align with the Antichrist will face severe persecution. They will be hunted down mercilessly and killed for their refusal to forsake their faith in Jesus Christ. The era will be marked by widespread chaos and the blood of martyrs as the world plunges into deeper turmoil. The Antichrist's campaign against believers. The Antichrist will focus on eliminating the tribulation of saints, particularly to stop the spread of the gospel. His campaign will be relentless, waging war against the faithful end-time saints and executing them for maintaining their testimony of Jesus Christ. This intense persecution aims to crush any resistance and assert total control. During this time, the saints will face physical dangers and significant spiritual, emotional, psychological, and bodily challenges. The stress of living under constant threat and the pain of witnessing such widespread suffering will test the limits of their endurance. In a vision, John sees 4 angels representing the 4 winds of heaven, commanded to withhold these winds until God's servants are sealed on their foreheads. This sealing protects them from certain calamities and signifies their divine selection and protection amidst the chaos. John's revelation includes the specific number of those sealed, 144,000, with 12,000 from each of the tribes of Israel. This group, symbolically linked to ancient Israel, represents the new Israel, the Christian community facing persecution but granted divine protection during these trials. Following the sealing, another series of catastrophic events begins, signaled by 7 angels with trumpets. Each trumpet blast brings about a new disaster, including massive earthquakes, rivers turning to blood, darkened celestial bodies, and stars falling from the sky. These events symbolize the intensifying divine judgment being poured out upon the earth. Continuing with the catastrophic events during the tribulation, God's wrath intensifies, particularly targeting those who persecute Christians. This phase marks a direct divine intervention against the forces opposing righteousness. The severity of these interventions reflects the ongoing battle between good and evil, as depicted in the Book of Revelation. Robert Breaker discusses how the Book of Revelation portrays the Roman emperor as an embodiment of an evil force that has long opposed the forces of righteousness. This entity is identified with Satan, the arch-enemy of God, who has been actively working to undermine God's plans and destroy the righteous since the beginning of time. A significant focus in the discussions about Revelation is the emergence of the Antichrist and the infamous Mark of the Beast. Revelation chapter 13 describes how the Antichrist, after being mortally wounded, miraculously recovers and rules for 42 months. This leader enforces the Mark of the Beast, which is essential for buying and selling, and decrees death for those who refuse to worship the image of the beast. These elements highlight the Antichrist's pivotal role in the tribulation, wielding power that controls economic freedom and demands religious allegiance. John's narrative in Revelation also touches on cosmic battles, portraying a war in heaven where Archangel Michael and his angels fight against the dragon, Satan, and his followers. This conflict results in Satan and a third of the angels being expelled from heaven. The same malevolent force that attempted to destroy Jesus at his birth through King Herod continues to operate through earthly rulers like the Roman emperor, perpetuating his legacy of cruelty and persecution against Christians. Satan's influence through history. According to John, Satan's influence has been persistent and pervasive, working through various rulers and periods to challenge God's kingdom and harm God's followers. His role in the tribulation, facilitated by the Roman emperor's actions, is seen as a culmination of his long-standing rebellion against God, aiming to gain mastery over the world and eradicate the faithful. John's depiction of the wicked ruler in the Book of Revelation borrows heavily from the imagery used in the Book of Daniel. Daniel describes a formidable beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, a symbol of oppressive regimes that challenge the faith of the Jews. Similarly, John uses the image of a beast to represent the Roman emperor, a figure whose authority was stamped even on the empire's currency. Further, he is explicit when referring to the beast, urging those with insight to calculate the beast's number, famously known as 666. This number is said to represent a man. In this context, it points to the Roman emperor. However, John's use of this number goes deeper than a mere identification. It personifies the pervasive evil during his time, suggesting that the Roman emperor, influenced by satanic forces, acted contrary to the divine will. John portrays the Roman emperor not just as a political figure, but as an embodiment of Satan himself. This link between Satan and the empire underscores their united purpose in John's view: to oppose righteousness and oppress the faithful through tyranny and persecution. As the narrative progresses, John describes 3 angels who herald significant events. The first angel announces God's impending judgment, the second declares the fall of Babylon, symbolizing Rome, and the third warns of the grim fate awaiting those who worship the beast and its image. These announcements set the stage for the ultimate divine intervention. The catastrophic events culminate in the second coming of Christ. As Christ descends, the wicked are destroyed by the sheer brilliance of his presence. Following this, Satan is bound for 1,000 years, during which the earth remains desolate. The righteous, meanwhile, find refuge in the city of God, the New Jerusalem. The final vision presented in Revelation is that of New Jerusalem, a dazzling city with gold streets, jasper walls, pearl gates, and the eternal river of life flowing from God's throne. There will be no suffering, crying, or death in this celestial paradise, for God will dwell among his people and wipe away every tear. So what do you think of the coming of Jesus Christ? Are end times here? Comment below and subscribe for more.